Peace and abundance always. Hey, what's up, everybody? Peter Abundant here, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD, an ordained minister in metaphysical sciences, which is ultimately the study of spirituality. I have about 30 years of experience studying spirituality, studying various aspects of different religions, and what all of it has led me to is the realization, the understanding that ultimately you are the creator of your own universe. Now, that can be debated, that can be argued, and many people often have things to say, especially people who have a religious background. But ultimately, when you get down to it, even if you identify with a particular religion, you have to understand that you essentially create your experience of that religion. You have a perspective of that religion or of that, ideology, of that, theology, of that methodology. And that makes you the creator, essentially, of how that thing, that idea, actually materializes and how it shows up in your life. So today I want to share with you a special message, a message of understanding the difference between believing and knowing. Now, it's not like these two things are completely different, opposite, opposing. It's not like one is more valuable than the other. But it's important to understand when we really dive deep into words, because words are power, right? Words are our initial transformation of thoughts, ideas into actual physical vibrations and experiences. You have a thought, you have an idea, it's in here. It's in the spiritual realm, right? And then when you speak it, that is the first phase of it materializing, because you are sending out a vibration, a physical vibration that people can feel and hear, right? And thus be inspired by. It resonates with them or it doesn't. But more importantly, the universe hears you. And then you are putting out a vibration in the universe. So understanding that you create your reality is very important. Now, when we talk about belief or believing versus knowing, here's a major difference. When you believe in something or you believe something, you haven't experienced it yet, right? But you believe it is. In other words, a lot of people believe in heaven or hell, but yet they haven't experienced it yet. Right? A lot of people believe in even a political stance, but yet they haven't truly experienced it yet. Right? They may believe in a particular kind of relationship. Right? They may believe in an understanding of a culture, but yet they really haven't directly experienced it yet. Right? They just simply believe in it. It's almost like having an opinion of something. Right? This is my opinion. But now, when you are knowing something, right, and this more particularly pertains to your inner experiences or your experiences on a spiritual level, okay? Now, on a spiritual level, when you believe something, you have a drive, you have a level of it resonating with you on such a deep level, even though you haven't experienced it yet. It's almost like following your instinct, following your intuition, right? You're being led towards something that you cannot really, explain. You cannot articulate. You cannot, really break it down for somebody else to learn from it or gain an understanding of it, because you haven't experienced it yet. You just have a feeling, right? You have a pull. You have a magnetism toward that thing. But yet, when you are in the knowing of something, right, you know it because you've done it. You've experienced it, right? You've had it. You've done it, right? So understand that on this journey of spirituality, you might be asking, well, okay, what's the point? On the spiritual plane or the spiritual path, there are many different phases of knowledge and existence. There are many different phases of experiences. Now, I often refer to what I call the 3 phases of knowledge, right? And knowledge goes usually in 3 phases. The first phase is questioning. where you have a thought and you question it. You are maybe coming into a realization about a belief system that you have and you question it. You have ideas, or you question, what's the right religion? What's the right way to invest money? What's the right business? What's the right relationship to get into, right? What's the right diet? What's the right fitness workout regimen, right? You can go down a list of asking yourself, what is the right way? And so you go down the path of learning. And then you get to a point of knowing, right? This is the second phase of knowledge, where you begin to know something, meaning you are studying different things, right? It's giving you insight, it's giving you examples. Then you're getting to a place where you're feeling confident about what you know. And then finally, the third stage of knowledge is being, where you actually are being that thing, because it has gone beyond just something that is cerebral or in your mind. It is just the way you are, because you have consumed so much knowledge, and more importantly, you have experienced it. Okay, so what I did is I basically broke down those three phases, and I'm just kind of bringing it into two things: believing believing and knowing. Okay, so believing is essentially the first two phases of knowledge, right? It is questioning and the knowing, meaning that you are going into gaining knowledge and insight, but yet you still haven't experienced it yet, right? It's almost like when we think about money. The famous book, Think and Grow Rich, was about Napoleon Hill actually interviewing all of these millionaires, right? Asking them what it is that they're doing. So he's gaining the knowing by asking people who are being it, who know it, right? He's gaining that knowledge from them. So the same thing applies to you. When you are looking at YouTube videos, you're reading books, you're listening to podcasts, you are gaining the knowledge, but you haven't been to a place yet where you have experienced it. And so you're not transforming that knowledge into it being who you are. You understand? So recognize that that is a part of the journey, right? When you are in believing, and you are and living the things, right? And the concepts and the understanding and the wisdom and the knowledge and the people, eventually, over time, you will in fact know something, meaning you will experience it. Now, this concept can be a little bit blurry as far as the line, right? And it can be a little bit convoluted and a little bit complex. But ultimately, when you identify that there are phases of understanding with the words that we use, belief is extremely powerful. I know that if you believe something, it will manifest in particular ways and show up in many ways in your life. Now, the issue, though, is belief often it leaves people with a sense of not really having 100% confidence or faith, right, in that which they believe in, because there is moments where we look at other people and their belief systems, not recognizing that, hey, we are all individual creators of our reality. So you can have two people with opposing belief systems actually creating and getting results based on those belief systems. It's an amazing world we live in. We think that, okay, it's only one belief system that actually works. And that's not the truth of the universe. That's not the truth of the grand existence of all things. The universe, right, is infinite. It is abundant. It isn't something that can be encapsulated in one way of thinking, one way of being, right? It is basically determined by who you are, right, and what you decide. And then based on what you decide, that's when we get into the realm of believing, right? Okay, I'm deciding, I'm believing, I'm resonating with this concept, this idea, and therefore I'm going to move with this. I'm going to act with this. I'm going to, carry myself in alignment with this. And then eventually, right, you make a breakthrough. And the breakthrough is the manifestation of the belief that you've had. that you've been working, that you've been practicing. And now you're in a whole nother stratosphere of experiencing life, because now it is no longer just theory, right? It is actual, practical, factual, right? Irrefutable, right? Evidence that you have experienced and created this result. So now you are in a space of going from the transformation of believing to a knowing, because you have actually materialized and created that result for yourself. Now the thing is, just because you have materialized this thing for yourself, it doesn't mean, again, that this is the only one and right way, and that you should be going on this quest, right? This crusade of telling everybody, and if they don't believe you, then they're wrong or they're crazy. All right. You have to acknowledge that we are all individuals, and we are all individual expressions of the Creator. That means we individually create our reality. And so if somebody comes and has seen your journey, and they see how you have transformed belief to knowing, then they may be inspired, if it resonates with them, to ask you questions, to seek out wisdom, support, mentorship, guidance, whatever, right? Tips. That is when you have the opportunity, and should take the opportunity, to share what you have experienced and what you have done to get to this understanding for yourself. Recognizing again that they are going to make it theirs if it resonates with them in the first place. So I just feel like I was, inspired to actually share this concept. And I know it can be a little bit confusing, maybe even advanced, but I think you get it as far as understanding the difference between having a belief, believing in something, versus knowing something. Because a lot of times people think they know something when in fact they just simply believe it. Again, believing is not weak, is not less than knowing. It's just a part of the process of coming into the knowing, right? Of coming into the manifestation of. When we are practicing, materializing, and manifesting our purpose, our passions, our desires, we are believing in the process by which we are going to do it, right? You believe, okay, if I work out every day, if I eat the right things, if I, be mindful about when I eat, then I'm going to reach my fitness goals, right? If I actually put in the work, read, educate myself, get into my own, history and trauma with relationships and my own patterns, then I can go on this trajectory of attracting the love of my life, because I'm doing my own work. I am elevating my frequency. And so I will attract beautiful people in my life, and eventually my soulmate, twin flame, whatever it is you want to call it, my life partner, right? So you can go down the list of whatever it is you wish to create. Understand that the process by which you are putting in the work to attract that is you essentially in this phase of believing, right? You are being and living, right? This concept, this idea of how you're going to walk this path of creation. Then eventually you will create it. Now you're in knowing. Now you don't have to put in the effort of the belief systems, the practices. You simply, once you know, once you materialize something, and when you acknowledge that you did it, it sends you to a whole nother space of perception, of reality, of recognition of who you are, seeing who you are. You see, a lot of times people don't give themselves enough credit when they materialize and manifest something. Sometimes people knock it down and say, oh, it was just luck. Oh, well, it was no big deal. That's not the way to approach it. Because if you were able to materialize that one singular thing, no matter how small or minute it is, then if you continue to go on that path and continue to manifest more of it, even if it is minute, then eventually it's going to accumulate into something massive and beautiful and big. or at least you'll be able to transform or, translate how you got that one thing, and you will be able to apply it to getting something else. You see, so your ability to really take ownership of what it is that you have created is very important. Self-awareness, self-observation is extremely important on this journey. And if you're not able to give yourself credit when you've done something, accomplished something, then it's going to be even more difficult for you to be able to see that you are a creator of all of this. You have to take ownership and recognize the smallest things that you create and see that within that, there are the tools, there are the instructions, there are the manuals to actually getting the big things, right? The things you truly desire and want, right? So understand the importance of all of this. Now, it may or may not relate, but what I want you to also get, because for myself, when I apply the mechanisms, the understandings of manifestation, for me, it is a matter of understanding that my nature, I'm a workhorse. Like, it's one of those things where it's not a matter of, okay, I'm going to do this one thing perfectly. For me, it's a matter of I'm going to make as many mistakes possible, right? Until I finally get the results that I want, and until I finally get what I want. I'm not scared of making mistakes. I'm not scared of putting myself out there. I'm not scared of doing it 100 times rather than just doing it one big time, right? I will continue to work. I'm one of those people that are like, I'm not going to get outworked, right? Nobody's going to outwork me. That's just my mentality. And so in order to understand that mentality, to maximize it, I have to be willing to do it more and more, and to do whatever it is that I understand is going to get me to the destination, to the goal that I want. Then I'm going to continue to keep doing it. And I'm going to do it every single day until I get to the result. But here's the thing. What I come to understand is initially it can be, it can require discipline, right? It can be a little bit challenging because you are shifting a mindset. You are shifting a reality. You are shifting an existence, right? This pertains to you materializing what you want. And so when you begin that initial shift and change, it's going to require willpower. It's going to require motivation. As much as people talk down about motivation, it is and has its place. It's going to require you listening to affirmations, you watching inspiring videos, you continuing to build up that discipline of going through things when you don't really want to, when you don't feel confident in it. But then eventually it becomes something that you actually find, right? When you are aligned with what it is that you desire and you're really listening to your consciousness, you will find that the things that you've been doing to create this result that you want eventually becomes the thing itself that you are passionate about. In other words, instead of focusing so much on what you want or what you desire, you find that the steps you are taking to achieve what you desire is so much more pleasurable than you would imagine, right? It is so exciting. It is so fun. You're so passionate about it. You feel rejuvenated. You feel excited. You feel pumped up when you complete that step, when you do that thing. Because now you have, transition again from a phase of, okay, I'm just going to work hard. I'm just going to push through. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to apply willpower. I'm going to listen to the motivational speeches, and I'm going to do what I can, right? Eventually it becomes habit. It becomes habitual. It becomes a way of life for you. Then eventually you become it, right? It becomes who you are. And then it's just simply a matter of breathing. It's simply a matter of eating. It's simply a matter of walking, right? You do it because that is what you do. And though you are essentially doing it to reach a purpose, to hit a goal, the doing it itself provides you so much satisfaction. And when you are dialed into that, then you're not worried about how fast you want to materialize this thing. Like most of us, when we start thinking about what we want, which is more based on the ego, then we get caught up in like, oh, I need to do this fast. I need to make fast money, right? I want to get in a relationship fast, right? I want to lose weight fast. So maybe I should take some pharmaceutical drugs to decrease my appetite, right? You get into the fast ways of thinking, and that will eventually take longer, because fast ways of thinking, they don't get the results you want. You keep thinking that way. You keep trying these ways and cheat codes and hacks, but nothing beats being straight up, straightforward, and just directly dialing into what you know you have to do to get that thing. So you have to just be focused in on connecting with what it is you truly desire. Asking yourself, okay, how can I get that? How can I create that? Ask yourself practically, strategically, based on your knowledge, right? No matter where you are, don't feel like, oh, I don't know enough, I'm not smart enough. Based on what you know now, it is enough to get you started. Your job is to then say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what is sustainable for me to do on a regular basis, consistently. And then eventually it becomes second nature. Okay. A lot of people in spirituality will talk about, don't focus on the how. That's the universe's job. Well, you and the universe are one. So if you can think about a how, then do it. Now, I wouldn't say focus on how exactly and the time and the details of when it's supposed to materialize. But I think it's important because we have brains, and that is what our brain is for, to actually think things through, strategize, right? Plan out, to do. Our bodies are made to do. So that is what you are, with the tools that you have, should be focused on. But give yourself grace, give yourself compassion, give yourself empathy, because over the course of time, in the beginning, it may be confusing. You may not have faith in yourself or confidence in what you're doing. That is okay. Just stay focused. Stay focused on the task. Stay focused on the goal. Make sure you are doing something on a consistent basis. Eventually, the universe will match you. The universe will materialize that for you. All right? Just stay focused. So this was a lot, but I want you to get some more in-depth understandings as far as purpose, as far as understanding who you are as a creator, and thinking about things differently in terms of, belief, in terms of knowing, in terms of loving something that you are doing in order to become the person that creates that thing, right? So love being the person, right? In other words, the self-talk, the feelings, right? The doing, the having, like love all of that aspects of all those aspects of who and what it takes to get the thing that you desire. And what you desire is just simply a matter of time. All right. I hope that helps and supports you. Thank you so much for supporting me. Make sure you go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, check out my books on that website, check out my merch. The merch is great. I'm waiting for my package right now. I can't wait. I'm excited. The books are available on Amazon, but if you go to drabundant.com, you'll see the list of all the books available, and you simply just pick the one that you're interested in. All right. Thank you so much. Peace and abundance always.